reseal it, and you should hear that click, okay? And then you can maybe check it again. Now what will happen a lot of times is the people that clean your room up may change it for you. And so you need to make sure that it's sealed.
That's another frequent place that when your ventilator doesn't work, you can't get air into your bellows, that's what's happening. Is that your CO2 is not connected heavily, or it's like it's leaking. So you're ventilating, but you're not getting air, and your bellows doesn't go up and down. Sometimes that's a frequent place that happens.
Next step is number 11. Perform a pressure to high pressure test. Leak test now. The other one, now we're going to have the high pressure systems on, so we're going to do a higher pressure check. So now we're testing the internals of this breathing system, that there's no other leak that we have missed. So we're going to take our mask off. We're going to include the Y piece at this point in time. We're headed on bag mode. Have some oxygen flowing. And then I can inflate my bag here. What's our problem today? Close your APL valve. Yeah. Close your APL valve, and you're going to make it go up to 30 centimeters of pressure. Okay? And I can push here if I had to. And now I saw it's giving me high pressure. So now I'm going to query my APL valve again and release it, and the pressure should come down, and the bag should collapse. So we checked that the APL valve is fully functional, and there's no leak in our breathing system. Now, my next step is number 12. I'm going to check my ventilator at this point in time. So I need to have a lung that has compliance to it. Okay? So I take that off, put that on here. So now I'm going to switch from bag mode to auto mode, which is your ventilator. So I make sure that it's turned on. Make sure I have a gas flow. All right. Now, when the ventilator, when it descends, inspiratory, comes back up, expiratory. So I know that's working. Now I'm going to look at my valves. Breathe in, it's fluttered. Breathe out, it fluttered. Okay. Do I have a tidal volume so that my sensor is working? Yes, I do. And here's my peak inspiratory pressures.
See how he's got it under his arm? It's like it's simulating the lungs, right? If you just hold it out,
it won't work. You have to have a little pressure to make the ventilator work properly. All right. So it's just basically it's 3 breaths through the ventilator. That's all you need. You don't have to stand here forever. Okay. You'll want to. You keep waiting.
Yeah.
Is it going to tell me something? Yeah. So you saw the first breath, inspire, expire. Second breath, inspire, expire, and then check for that in the step. Okay. Then we remove it off the ventilator, and then we'll take it and put our bag back on. And we'll put on our mask back on. And now my last step is I'm going to check all my, we didn't go over it earlier, but we'll go here in a second, but I will check now to make sure when I leave that the number of frequency is here, 8. My IE ratio is here, 1 to 2. I have it on the medium inspiratory flow. So that's what I want when I come back with my patient. And then I'm going to have set my approximate what my tidal volume I want. So you're going to go anywhere, I would say 8 to 10 based on their weight. So 70 kilogram, maybe 700. So I'll preset that. Now it's not always going to what you get delivered, because there's all kinds of things with the patient and all these other things that will happen. So you'll adjust your tidal volume to and use your SaO2 and your end-tidal CO2 for your respiratory pattern. So you may have to adjust your rate. You may have to adjust your IE ratio. You may have to adjust your flow rates. And then you may have to adjust, once again, change this to get it to what you want so that you're based on what your end-tidal CO2 is and what your SaO2.
You just want something to get started with, because after you induce, you get your endotracheal tube in, immediately you're going to go breath sounds, flip your ventilator on, and then you automatically know you have 8, 1 to 2, you have about 700. So it gives you a second to kind of get things situated, and then turn back and finesse it. But you know kind of where you have to start place. And I do it the same way every time, so I know every single time I'm gonna start with this and that, and then I go back and do all that.
And so, yeah, so the last step is just to make sure the vaporizers are off, make sure your caps are off, you know, and all these, and when you're doing checking your vaporizers, always make these as your filling caps here. Make sure those are good and tight. That's another area that when you come in the morning, or if you come in back in between your cases, somebody may have filled your vaporizer for you, and they didn't tighten it all down. So if it was open, as soon as you have oxygen flowing, and as soon as you turn it on, it's going to spray isoflurane all over the place.
Oh.
Okay. It will happen.
Jeez.
But
It
you just
happens
gotta
to
be
everybody.
You have to be vigilant and make sure you do these things in every time.
One place that you can have issues is right where the bag is, you know, because you grab it, you're testing it, you're pulling on it. You can shear the top there, so you go to ventilate with the bag and you can't figure out why it's not working. Sometimes that's a place where that you can have issues. So there's all little places that you can start to have issues that once you start looking, you can, oh, okay, I'm gonna check here, oh, okay, I'm gonna check this, so, okay, well, it's not that, so it's gotta be something else. It's just kind of figuring out where your issues will be. And those are frequent areas of problem.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. All right, this is the first screen of this machine, and it's called the monitor screen. That's all your monitors. So your first one up here is your SaO2, then your pulse off of your pulse oximeter over here. So if I put that on, I will start getting it. You'll start reading it. It's working. There it goes. So I'm high. Then my CO2 waveform. Now you see it says CO2 calibration in progress. Now we calibrate the FiO2 monitor, but everything else is self-calibration. The CO2 calibration, the agent analyzer over here will recalibrate every 15 minutes. Okay, and you'll see this CO2 calibration in progress. A while ago, when Tiffany was trying to intubate this patient, we were in CO2 calibration. So if we were ever in that situation, there's a button over here that says hold CO2 cal. So if you're getting ready to intubate and it's in calibration mode, you can hit that so that your CO2 monitor will work properly. All right, and this is my FiO2 monitor measured here. Now, if you're doing a MAC and you have nasal prongs hooked up, you will hook it into here, and this will be a separate location, so you would turn that on to the 3 liters for that. Now, it may still be reading 90 over here, but that's not what you're delivering. Remember with nasal prongs, you go 4% for over 21 for each liter that you use. So if I'm not 3 liters, I'm probably at 32% FiO2 if it's a good. And at the same time, with your nasal prongs, you're going to have an attachment to the nasal prongs that will go to your sampling line and measure your end-tidal CO2. So while your patient's being sedated, you will see that's how they're breathing. If that suddenly goes away, they stop breathing. Okay. The next one is my invasive blood pressure, non-invasive blood pressure over here. Your last one will go, and then you'll have the last 5 will be here. Now, I'll show you here in a second. Whenever and then there's a certain alarm, a sound for your blood pressure. I call it the doorbell. When the doorbell rings, then you should be turning to see what the blood pressure shows. Okay. This is your alarm volume. I call it a birdie chirp. Okay. This is my peak inspiratory pressure waveform here, and then this is my mean pressure. And then if I had PEEP, this is my PEEP valve over here. If I needed PEEP, I would turn it on, and then I would, this is a regulatory thing. So if I wanted to increase it, I'd turn clockwise. If it would decrease it, I'd turn counterclockwise. And it will read here. Okay. This is my minute volume, will be listed here. This is my tidal volume, that will be listed here, and there'll be a waveform. And then this is my respiratory rate. And then this is my agent analyzer. So The last time I turned it on was isoflurane, so let's try to turn on SIBO. And it automatically designates that SIBO has been turned off. Okay? And as soon as I turn it off, it should go away. Now, if you walk in the room and you turn this on, and one of those are lit, then you know you need to check it. Okay? My second window is my monitor setup window, so that would be all here. So this is all my alarms for my SaO2, my pulse, my CO2, my FiO2, and then my blood pressure settings there. And then over here, interlock is not interlock with here, but interlock is if I had a blood pressure cuff on this arm and my pulse oximeter on the same arm. So if the blood pressure cuff go up, there's going to be an alarm. So I put it on interlock, and it will not alarm. So it's not driving you crazy. Okay. And then I hold CO2 count. Here's my pulse oximeter sound. Here's my other sound you got to get used to. Okay. And then we go down to, then we have our